and today we are going to discuss about security services and mechanisms. Security services and mechanisms. In general, what are the security services and mechanisms are available? Okay, so this is what the topic today, that is standardized by ISO, International Standard Organization, and this is in the document X200 document. Okay, all these are standardized by various standardization body. So the security because this is standardized by ISO, because ISO is one of the standardization body for networks. Okay, so all these services is related to the network. So that's why it's also being standardized by ISO with a specific document X.800. Okay, so we'll discuss about that topic today. What is services and mechanisms? For example, you are learning RSA, you are learning elliptical cryptography. Solving encryption, decryption with RSA is, you can do it. Okay, but what is the real purpose of RSA? You have to plug in this RSA in some specific application. Okay, so whenever the data is transferred across the network, you can apply RSA algorithm to encrypt the data as well as decrypt the data. Okay, sender need to apply encryption algorithm to encrypt the data, and the receiver need to apply decryption algorithm to decrypt the data. So here, what is the mechanism? RSA is a mechanism. What is the service? Network data security in transit. Data in transit security. Okay, so that is the difference between services and mechanisms. Services and mechanisms seems to be same, but both are different. Okay, if you take another example, we are learning a well-known symmetric crypto system DES. Okay, you will learn how to encrypt the data by using DES, encryption process, decryption process. You can write down the algorithm for encryption. You can write down the algorithm for decryption, sub-key generation, and all those things. Okay, it won't be useful until otherwise it is plugged onto the specific application. Okay, for example, you have a cloud storage. Okay, you want to store the data in the cloud storage in a secure manner. What you can do, you can take the data, you can encrypt it by using DS algorithm, and you can upload it onto the Google storage service, storage cloud. Okay, so what is the service here? Secured cloud storage is a service. Okay, secure cloud storage is a service. What is the mechanism here? DES is a mechanism. Okay, so can you differentiate mechanism and services? Mechanism is a method. Mechanism is an algorithm. Mechanism is a process. It's a hardware. Okay, for specific purpose. If it is plugged onto the specific application, then it is not a service. Okay, so cloud computing is application providing security in the cloud computer, security for a platform as a service, security for infrastructure as a service, security for storage as a service. All those things are known as services. Okay, security services. Okay, security add-on for cloud computing, security add-on for network security. Clearly, I think you have completed the network last semester. Okay, so the transport layer TCP provides reliable communication. Reliability is not a security term. Reliability is a network term. Okay, reliable transmission between sender and receiver. So that's a protocol defined by TCP/IP vendor. Okay, so if you want to provide secured, reliable end-to-end service, you need another protocol. Okay, so that is nothing but TLS. Okay, so TCP is a network protocol, connection oriented network protocol, transport protocol. That is a service. Okay, so to provide security to this TCP, you need some add-on. Okay, some plugin component. What is it? TLS or SSL or SSH. So three different versions are available. Three different types are available. So these are known as security services for transport link. Okay, and these security services, all these are implemented in terms of protocol. Okay, so it includes so many different algorithms, like it is based on RSA, it is also based on Diffie-Hellman key exchange, it includes AES, all those algorithms, even SHA, all those techniques, all those mechanisms are included as a part of TLS specification, SSL specification. Okay, so these are the mechanisms. Okay, so these are the services. Okay, what about this TLS, SSL or SSH provides secure transport service. Okay, what is the security service here? Secure end-to-end transport service. Okay, These are the mechanisms. So that is the difference between services and mechanism. Okay. So can you understand the difference between services and mechanisms? Okay. So with that, we get into the specification, X point 800 specification. What are the services are available? Actually, we have five major security services. Five major security services. The first security service is known as authentication. Okay. So the first major security service is authentication. Okay. So what do you mean by authentication? The authentication, it ensures that the data is from the correct source. Okay, the data is from the correct source. Okay, here you can ask question, what is the source? Who is the source? Either human being or the software or the product. Okay, let's get into one simple application here. We have a connectivity between two computers, Alice and Bob, connected through internet. Okay, so let it be the Bob is some SMTP server. Okay, or let it be a very simple server, FTP server. Okay, because if it is SMTP, you need to worry about post office protocol and all those different protocol. Let it be this is FTP server, file transfer protocol with FTP server. Okay, and this in this particular computer we have a process called FTP client. Okay, so the person Alice wants to receive the file from Bob. Okay, here the person is Alice. Okay, so the first thing is that this FTP process, FTP is based on end-to-end communication protocol, which is TCP. Okay, so here the process is a TCP client. Okay, so here the peer entity is because it passes through a sub network. Okay, so here the peer entity is a TCP sub. Okay, so what is a peer entity? Peer entity is a process. Okay, so this peer entity communicates with this peer entity. So TCP server ensure the originality of TCP client. TCP client should ensure the originality of TCP server. So each TCP client should authenticate TCP server. TCP server should authenticate TCP client. So both should authenticate each other. Okay. So this type of authentication is known as peer entity authentication. Here the peer entity is a process. Okay. So this is known as a type of authentication. This is known as peer entity authentication. Okay, so two end-to-end process should authenticate together. Authenticate mutually, it should authenticate. So that a mutual authentication is known as peer entity authentication. Okay, another type of authentication is here. TCP client is a process that communicates with the TCP server, but actually, what is the source process? It's not a TCP client. TCP client cannot generate the data. Okay, so the source is a TCP FTP client. Only FTP client will receive the data. FTP server will send the data. Both are also processed. Okay, but this process is something different from this. Okay, so the actual communication is between peer entity, but the peer entity receives the data from its upper layer. Most of the time, the application layer process are data entity, data origin authentication. Application layer process requires data entity authentication. The transport layer process requires peer entity authentication. Okay, both are different. Okay, so we have two different. User need not be authenticated. User authentication is something different. Okay, so the second thing is data origin authentication. Data origin is not a user. Data origin is a process. Okay, application process. Data origin authentication. Okay, so here the client TCP FTP client should prove that it is an authorized FTP client by sending credential. Okay, in the similar manner, TCP client should also authenticate itself by sending some credential to the server. Here, verifier is a server. The credential to be given by the client, because client is a service user, server is a service provider. Service provider should authenticate the client first. Okay, client also should authenticate server because it should not get wrong information from the wrong server. Okay, so peer entity authentication and data origin authentication both are based on process based. Okay, so what is the service here? Authentication service. The underlying network service is file transfer. Okay, what is a service here? Security service here? Secure file transfer. Okay, so that is a first service. First type of service mechanism is authentication mechanism. Okay, peer entity authentication, data origin authentication. Second type of service mechanism, the access control. Okay, for example, yesterday I had given security definition based on three basic elements. We need to provide security for hardware, software, as well as service. Okay, so if it is a file, here we have taken file transfer protocol. If it is a file, we have access right for that file. Okay, how much amount of file can be downloaded, and whether it is a readable file or writable file. Okay, so that access control is a third important service. Okay, not here it is a file control, file transfer, but actually if it is a hardware resource. Okay, so if it is a printer, okay, if you take a hardware resource as a printer, how much amount of time the printer is available for the particular user. Okay, that is an access control. Okay, so the printer is accessible to the user A. Okay, user can access this printer. Okay, that is validated by using authentication mechanism. Okay, but this user should not monopolize the printer. Okay, so the user can access the printer for some period of time. Okay, how, when, and how much amount of time the user can access, that is decided by access control. Authentication means the user can access the system. Okay, that is to be verified by using some credential. Actually, in a deeper sense, authentications are based on three important factors, three factor authentication. The first is what you have, second one is what you know, and the third one is what you possess. Okay, so the three different elements, three different input to be given to the authentication process, it will be verified by the authentication system. So authentication verifies the authenticity or originality of the process or system. Access control means it decides how much time the system or software or resource can be utilized by the user, how much and how and when. Okay, all those are decided by the second type of mechanism called access control. Okay, second type of service called access control. I'm sorry, it's not a mechanism, service, security service. We are talking about security services. Security services. There are five major security services: peer entity authentication, data origin authentication, access control. Okay. Third important security service is known as confidentiality. Okay, confidentiality. So the data, resource, or hardware should not be exposed to the unauthorized person. Okay, so unnecessary disclosure of information to be prevented. So that is known as confidentiality. Here in this case, the data in transit will be the file. Okay, that file can be protected by using the confidentiality service. Okay, but in this confidentiality, there are three different subcategories are available. Okay, so one is known as connection oriented confidentiality. Okay, there are three subcategory. Okay, one is known as connection oriented confidentiality, connection oriented confidentiality. Second one is connectionless confidentiality, connectionless confidentiality, connectionless. Third one is selective data. Okay, selective data confidentiality, a selective region confidentiality, selective data confidentiality. So what is this connection oriented confidentiality? In this network, there are two type of connections are possible. One is connection oriented transport service. Another one is connectionless transport service. Okay, if it is connection oriented transport service, confidentiality required for the entire session, entire connection. Okay, see, this file may be a 1 MB file or 1 GB file. Okay, the 1 GB file cannot be transmitted as cannot be transmitted just by single throw. Okay, so this data will be divided into small segments. Segments will be transmitted over this network, and the TCP client will receive the acknowledgement and so on. Okay, so the TCP connection will be active for some period of time. Okay, so 1 millisecond or 1 minute, TCP connection will be active for some period of time. That connection to be secure, that is known as connection oriented confidentiality. That means during that connection, during that entire connection, the data across the network is confidential or secure. Okay, So that is known as connection-oriented confidentiality. Connection-oriented confidentiality to be implemented as a part of TCP protocol. Okay. Another component is a connectionless confidentiality. For example, if it is BitTorrent file transfer or real-time audio application or real-time video application, this on top of UDP. Okay, each and every data will be transmitted as a small block, data block. Okay, the data block alone to be secure, that UDP packet to be secure. Okay, so each and every UDP here in connection-oriented confidentiality, for the entire connection, the mechanism remains same. For example, for the entire connection, if TLS is used, all the time the data will be encrypted by using AES server. For authentication, the algorithm we use is a DSS, okay, digital signature standard. So that key and the mechanism will remain safe for the entire connection. But for connectionless confidentiality, the data, the security mechanism is for each and every data block. Okay, for the first data block, I can apply RSA algorithm. For second data block, I can apply some other algorithm. Okay, so security mechanism is for a single block. Okay, so that's a difference. And finally, selective portion. Actually, whenever we implement security, security always a trade-off. Okay, if you want to provide high-end security for network, you have to tolerate delay. Okay, because encryption to be performed and we need to verify the key and we have to apply 4096 bit key and all those things. Always a trade-off. You have to tolerate a delay. Okay, so delay is a add-on drawback of security, as well as there may be a problem in the bandwidth. Okay, actual data to be transmitted across the network maybe 1 GB. If you want to ensure security, you have to add some extra data. Okay, so that increases the bandwidth requirement. So there is always a trade-off. If you want to provide high-end security, if you want to get high-end security, you have to compromise on delay as well as bandwidth. Okay, so the entire file need not be secure. For example, in that file, 1 GB file, the sensitive portion is just 1 KB. Okay, if you take net banking application, the entire net banking application, the entire net banking session need not be secure. Okay, only the whenever the user transmits OTP, whenever the user transmits the credential, that block alone to be secure. That's enough to safeguard a net banking application. Instead of encrypting each and every data, just encrypt sensitive data. Okay, so that is known as selective data confidentiality, selective portion confidentiality. Okay, so all these are different level of confidentiality services. Connection oriented confidentiality built on top of TCP. One famous component here is TLS, SSL, and SSH. Connection less confidentiality is for UDP, and selective data confidentiality. Is selective data confidentiality will be the part of application. Okay, because of which particular data to be secure, that is decided only by the application layer, not by the transport layer. Okay, so selective data confidentiality, it will be the part of application layer protocol, FTP, SMTP, HTTP, and all those things. In HTTP, all the requests it won't be encrypted. Okay, only the sensitive data portion will be encrypted, and that's known as HTTPS. Okay, so confidentiality is the next service, and one type of confidentiality is provide confidentiality for the traffic. Okay, traffic confidentiality. One specialized confidentiality, that is traffic pattern confidentiality. Traffic pattern confidentiality. Traffic flow confidentiality. Sorry. Traffic flow confidentiality. Confidentiality is the next service. Okay. In networks, all the networks are vulnerable. Okay, wired network or wireless network, because in internet the routers are in the public space. Okay, all the towers are everything in the public space. It's not in the inside the organization. Okay, so intruder hacker can access the entire channel. So channel is vulnerable to the hacker. Okay, so the traffic flow confidentiality means there is a mechanism. There should be some mechanism, security mechanism, to hide the flow of data. Okay, so how much amount of data transmitted across the network for in every unit of time. Okay, that will be observed by the hacker opponent. Okay, so that should be prevented by doing some blinding function. Okay, I'll tell you the blinding later. For example, very simple. It's like this. Okay, so for example, it's a timeline diagram. First millisecond, second millisecond, third millisecond, the amount of data transmitted across the network, 1 GB, 2 GB, and so on. In the first 1 millisecond, the amount of data, the actual data is 1 KB. And the second 1 to 2 timeline, the amount of data is 2 KB. And the third timeline, the amount of data may be 0. This is a virtual pattern. Okay. So one way to provide a traffic flow confidentiality is that the virtual pattern should not be visible to the intruder. Okay, so what is a simple mechanism? Actual data to be transmitted across the network is just 1 KB. Okay, so the sender can make some add-on padding data. Okay, some data may be padded. Okay, so instead of sending 1 KB data, sender may pad zeros, simply zeros. Okay, 1 KB of zero. The actual data transmitted here is 1 KB, but just by adding padding zeros, it will be 2 KB now. Okay, so now the observe only the one timeline. Okay, 0 to 1 timeline. So the actual pattern is this. Actual pattern is this. Okay, but now hackers observe the pattern like this. Okay, so it will provide some sort of confusion. We'll talk about mechanism later. Traffic flow confidentiality is to hide the traffic flow over the network. Okay, because most of the asymmetric cryptographies are broken by using traffic flow analysis. Okay, traffic flow analysis gives a detailed flow to the intruder or hacker to break asymmetric cryptography. Okay, so traffic flow confidentiality is the next service required for networks. Okay, specific internet. Okay, so peer entity authentication, data origin authentication, access control, uh, confidentiality, traffic flow confidentiality, and we have two more, that is data integrity. Okay, so data integrity is something different from confidentiality. Integrity, we need to ensure that the data received by the receiver is exactly the same which is sent by the sender. Okay, so the data received by the receiver is exactly, it's not based on error correcting code or error detecting code. Error correcting code or error detecting code, having code, CRC, Reed Solomon code, all those coding technique provides reliability. Okay, not integrity. Okay, so the intruder can, hacker can also modify CRC checksum. Hacker can also modify Hamming code checksum. Okay, normally hackers are more intelligent as compared to the designer, cryptographic designer. Okay, you have to think like hacker, then only you can be the expert in cryptography. So the hacker knows the way, the position in which CRC is attached. Okay, so CRC can also be modified. So error correcting code or error detecting code, all these are not solution for data integrity. Data integrity should ensure that provides a solution for the receiver should ensure that the data transmitted by the sender is perfectly received. Okay, so that should be some mechanism to verify it. Okay, so that is known as data integrity, not error correction technique or error detection technique. It's an integrity verification technique. Okay, data integrity services are also required, and the next type of service required is for e-commerce application, non-repudiation. Okay, so after transmitting the data, the sender should not deny. Okay, after receiving the data, the receiver should not deny. Okay, non-repudiation, there are two types. One is non-repudiation origin, non-repudiation destination. Okay, non-repudiation origin means there should be some mechanism to verify that, to prove that the data transmitted by the sender, the transmission of the data to be proved. Okay, that is non-repudiation origin. Okay, non-repudiation destination means the reception of the data by the receiver to be proved. Okay, that is non-repudiation destination. Okay, so finally we have one more service, one more known service by exploit to 800 specification, which is availability. Okay, so we have a server. The server or the service or the data should be available to the authenticated user at any point of time. Okay, we have to make it available to the authenticated user. Okay, so that type of service comes under availability. Okay, so these are the different type of services specified by ISO in X.800 specification. Okay, peer and data authentication, data origin authentication, access control, connect confidentiality. We have three categories: connection oriented confidentiality, connectionless confidentiality, and selective data confidentiality. Integrity also different. Okay, connection-oriented data integrity, connectionless data integrity, and selective data integrity. You need not ensure the integrity of the data for the entire portion. Okay, you need to ensure the integrity of the data, which is somewhat sensitive. Okay, so data integrity can also be classified into three more subcategory: connection-oriented data integrity, connectionless data integrity, and selective data integrity. Okay, we have two different subcategory of non-repudiation, origin, and destination. Finally, availability. These are the major services. Okay, in order to provide these services, we need different mechanisms. Okay, we need different algorithms. Okay, hardware or software implemented algorithms. Okay, so those are known as security mechanisms. Okay, the first three and a half unit of our syllabus covers security mechanisms, not security services. Okay, only the fourth unit final component includes security services. Okay, so there are different type of security mechanisms are available for each and every service. We'll discuss. See, these are the security services. Okay, so in order to provide security mechanisms, there are different security mechanisms are available. The first common security mechanism, because we are talking about DES, AES, RSA, elliptic curve, Elgamal, and so many crypto stuff. Okay, that is a first mechanism that is known as encipherment. Encipherment. Okay, encipherment is the first specific. Is it visible? Is it visible to you? Encipherment? Or I don't think.
No, ma'am.
Okay, okay, sorry. Okay. So the first type of mechanism here is okay. So first we are going to discuss about encipherment. Okay. So this is known as security mechanisms. Security mechanisms. Okay. So this encipherment is a process, it's an algorithm. Okay. It's based on two basic algorithms: encryption, decryption. Okay. So encipherment is a mechanism that is based on two basic subcomponents: encryption, decryption. Encryption takes plain text as an input, produces ciphertext as output. Okay, with add-on key. Okay, I will represent it mathematically because it's something obscure now. Okay, so C is equal to E of P comma K. Okay, so we need to define what is this. Okay, and decryption algorithm decipherment, it takes ciphertext as input, produces plain text as output. Okay, so this is known as encipherment. Okay, so whenever you design the crypto system like this, you have to consider so many things. Okay, first primary requirement is that none of the bit in the plain text should not be modified. Okay, the plain text is completely recoverable. Okay, for the input, let us assume input is P. If the output is P prime, then that is not a security mechanism. Okay, completely recoverable plain text is one thing. Okay, and encipherment should not provide us, should not impose any condition on the data. Okay, see, you cannot say that my encryption algorithm will work only for audio data. My encryption will work for this range of data. My encryption algorithm will work for only video data. You cannot say like that. Okay, whenever you design the algorithm, that should be applicable for all type of signals, data. Okay, so that is known as encipherment technique. Encipherment is a mechanism that includes two things: encryption, decryption. It includes both symmetric cryptography as well as asymmetric cryptography. Okay, symmetric crypto systems or asymmetric crypto system, everything comes under encipherment. Okay, So encipherment is a mechanism, okay? But what are the services are available with this encipherment? If you apply encipherment, definitely first important thing is this will be satisfied, confidentiality, because it is encrypted by using a key. The key is known only to the communicating parts, okay? The other intruder cannot tamper the data because the key is unknown, okay? It ensures confidentiality, okay? And moreover, the data is it's not possible to open the data. If it is not possible to open the data, it is not possible to modify the data. Okay, so it automatically provides the major requirement is confidentiality, but it also provides integrity. Okay, it also provides integrity. Asymmetric cryptography provides non-repudiation. Okay, but not all. Okay, non-repudiation availability is not possible with the cryptography. It won't provide any access control. Okay, but it will provide all the asymmetric cryptography will provide authentication. Okay, so peer entity authentication as well as data origin authentication, both are possible. Okay, and we have one type of crypto system. In the cryptography we have two different type of cryptography. Okay, two different type of crypto system. One is deterministic crypto system, another one is non-deterministic or probabilistic based crypto system. Okay, in the deterministic based crypto system, if you give the plain text as an input with a key k, always produces the same cipher. As long as the key and p remains same, the algorithm will provide same ciphertext. Okay, in non-deterministic crypto system, for example, I'm applying the plain text with a key k. At time t1, you will get c1. Okay, at time t2, you will get c2. Okay, so for the same plain text and key. Okay, so that type of crypto system is known as non-deterministic crypto system. Okay, so the non-deterministic crypto system, or otherwise it is also known as probabilistic crypto system. Okay, today's trending cryptography, most of the persons are working on quantum cryptography or post-quantum cryptography. Okay, post-quantum cryptography is like probabilistic cryptography. Okay, so the major requirement is if you take AES algorithm or DS algorithm or elliptic curve or RSA, if the plain text is of size B bits, okay, if the plain text is B bits, the ciphertext is also B bits, okay. But in non-deterministic cryptography or post-quantum cryptography, if the plain text is B bits, the ciphertext size is not B, it will be something else. It will be greater than B or less than B. Okay, it will be M bits. Okay, so actually the required data which is to be transmitted is B bits. Okay, but if you apply this asymmetric cryptography, probabilistic encryption, the actual data to be transmitted across the network is not actual B bits, it will be M bits. Okay, so it also provides traffic flow confidentiality. Traffic flow confidentiality is not possible with all type of crypto system. It is possible with probabilistic based crypto system. Okay, Elgamal is one of the probabilistic based crypto system. Elgamal crypto system is one of the probabilistic based crypto system. Okay, so where is this? It provides data traffic flow confidentiality. All those things are possible just by using single mechanism, encipherment. That's why people are working on encipherment. Okay, people are working on designing, developing new type of crypto system, asymmetric or symmetric crypto systems. Okay, so asymmetric, symmetric crypto system, everything falls under this mechanism, encipherment. Okay, encipherment is a first technique. Okay, second technique here is second mechanism here is second mechanism here is digital signature. Okay, one of the emerging trending content, digital signature. Okay, so digital signature. For example, the sender wants to send a document to the receiver, or certificate to the receiver. Sender wants to send a document. Okay, allies wants to send some document to Bob. Okay, allies wants to send some document to Bob. Okay, so now the document authority is maybe allies. Okay, so the document to be signed by allies, digitally signed by allies. Okay, so in encipherment we need to develop encryption algorithm and decryption algorithm, a completely reversible algorithm. To take digital signature, we need two different mechanisms. One is a mechanism to sign the document, digitally sign the document. Okay. Another mechanism is required to verify the document. Okay. So here the requirement is only the authorized person can sign. Okay. So there should be some secrecy. some mechanism so to ensure that authorized person is signing the document. But anybody can verify the document. You are getting a Sastra degree certificate. Anybody can verify the certificate. Okay, but only the registrar should sign it. Okay, so signing algorithm is different, verification algorithm is different. Designing the signing algorithm and verification algorithm. Okay, with different requirements. The document is a raw document. Anybody can verify it. Even opponent can also, hacker can also verify it. Okay, so they don't provide confidentiality. Okay, so digital signature. The main purpose of the digital signature, what type of service it will provide? Can you tell me the services provided by the digital signature? Can you, any one of you tell me the services? Students, are you here?
Data origin authentication.
Data origin authentication. Good. Authentication. So not only data origin authentication, it also provides peer entity authentication. Okay. Both. Will it provide access control? Will it provide access control? Digital signature, will it provide access control? Signing and verification alone is available. Will it provide access control? Will it provide confidentiality? Will it provide confidentiality? Because we cannot use, okay, because confidentiality, we have so many crypto systems are already available. RSA, Elgamal, so many. Is it possible to use those encipherment technique for digital signature? Is it possible to get confidentiality with the digital signature? I think my question is wrong. Is it possible to provide confidentiality with the mechanism digital signature? Is it possible? Tell me yes or no. Okay, I'll give you a small clue here because digital signature encipherment based on both mechanisms are based on same principle. Okay, let me take a simple case here. Okay, so Alice, Bob. Okay, here we need confidentiality. What we can do? The data to be encrypted by using RSA, RSA, RSA key. Whose key to be used here to encrypt the data? RSA is a asymmetric cryptography. Whose key to be used here to encrypt the data? Alice key or Bob key? Any guess about this? Here confidentiality means this data to be opened only by Bob. Okay, so Bob needs to use his own private key. Okay, if it is so, what which key to be used here to encrypt the data? Students, are you here? Not interested in cryptography or not interested to give answer? Okay. This document encrypted by Bob's public. Okay, so then only the Bob can use because Bob's public key, its pairing key is Bob's private key. Okay, if it is locked by using Bob's public key, then you can open it by using Bob's private key, not Alice's key. Okay, so the document encrypted by using Bob's public key transmitted across the network. Then Bob can use his own private key to open the document. Okay, this one provides confidentiality. Okay, so same type of technique is available that is known as RSA digital signature. In RSA digital signature, the document to be signed by using A's private key, Bob's not Bob's private key, Ali's private key. Okay, Ali's private key is used for signing the document, and Bob will use Ali's public key. Registrar need to sign the document. Okay, so register signature known to others, known. It's available in the public forum. Okay, anybody can verify it. Okay, so Bob can use Ali's public key to verify the document. Okay, so digital signature encipherment, the private key to be used for encryption, public key to be used for decryption. In digital signature, private key to be used for signing and public key to be used for verification. Okay, so both are different. So that the digital signature is not suitable for confidentiality, but it is suitable for two more things. We can it is signed by allies. Okay, we have the proof that it is signed by allies because allies privacy is required here. Okay, so data origin non-repudiation is possible. Okay, so non-repudiation is possible, and whenever we sign the document, this one important requirement for signing the document is it should be unique for every document. Okay, it also provides integrity. Okay, digital signature is a mechanism. It provides authenticity, integrity, and non-repudiation. Okay, so third
Ma'am,
type of yes, please.
ma'am, how it provides peer-to-peer and like peer entity authentication?
Peer entity authentication, TCP sender, TCP receiver. Okay, peer entities for HTTP application, FTP applications are TCP sender and TCP receiver. Okay, so the digital signature, the TCP sender should sign the document, should include the signature and then transfer it across the network. TLS includes DSS. DSS, the digital signature for signing the doc. Sign is not a human sign here. Sign is creating a checksum. Sign is nothing but creating a checksum like CS. Okay, that bit pattern to be constructed by including three major components. One is TCP entities hold secrecy and the time of creating the signature and the document content.
Ma'am, you said like anyone can verify the signature.
Yes.
Then how the like it's peer-to-peer, like how receiver only can verify?
Okay, good. Your point is perfect. TCP sender and TCP receiver. Here entity, we have two entity. The let us assume we have TCP client, okay, and TCP server. Okay, so TCP client will send the document by signing the document. That sign to be verified by the TCP server. This is one way authentication. Now what we are doing, the server is authenticating the clients. Okay, TCP server will also send the certificate. Will also the signed document is not a certificate. Okay, TCP server will also send the document, signed document by server. That is by using different key, server's private key. Okay, so authentication always one way. Okay, so for peer-to-peer authentication, TCP client will be authenticated by TCP server by one way, and TCP server will be authenticated by TCP client by sending TCP's credential. So the data will be again encrypted by using TCP's private key, TCP server's private key, and that will be verified by using TCP client's public key. This is also for the data origin authentication. Both will be authenticated each other. That is not a mutual authentication. It requires two-way communication.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, let's make this space clear. Okay, so third type of mechanism, the most common mechanism here is MAC. Okay, okay. So there is a third type of mechanism is various access control mechanisms. Okay, access control mechanism are providing access right to each and every individual based on different parameters, different policy factor. Okay, access control mechanism. Access control mechanisms is suitable only for access control. It won't provide authenticity. It won't provide confidentiality. It won't provide integrity and nothing else. Okay, access control is one thing. Second type of common mechanism is known as data integrity mechanism. Okay, data integrity mechanism. Data integrity. The most common data integrity mechanism is known as MAC algorithm, message authentication code. Have two different common MAC. One is HMAC, another one is CMAC. Okay, so MAC is nothing but it will be like this. Okay, So Mac is a function. It will take a document. Let me take a document as a message. Okay. It also take a key. Okay. It will return a checksum. A checksum is known as a digest. Okay. Now the entire document, that message is a document. Okay. That will be padded with this digest. Okay. So digest will be the very small part of the data. This will be transmitted across the network. Okay. After upon receiving this content, the receiver again computes this digest. Okay. Again apply the same algorithm at receiver also knows the key k, and this message, let it be the transmitter message is m, received message is m prime. Okay. So compute this and it will compute the new digest one. Okay. If this digest prime is equal to digest, the data, the receiver can ensure that the data is not modified. Okay. Otherwise, the receiver can identify there something, some sort of modification happened during the transmit. Okay. So digital signature algorithms are based on inspired by asymmetric cryptography. Data integrity algorithms are inspired by symmetric cryptography. Okay, so both sender and receiver should have the key k, then only the verification is possible. Okay, sender will add checksum or digest, receiver will also compute the checksum. If the computed checksum is equal to the received checksum, then the data will be accepted. Okay, just similar to CRC, but not exactly CRC. Okay, cyclic redundancy check. Okay, not exactly CRC. CRC is a error correcting code. MAC or cryptographic checksum. MAC's or other name for MAC is cryptographic checksum. Okay, it requires key to compute checksum. Okay, but CRC it won't require any key to compute checksum. Okay, so data integrity it provides only integrity. Data integrity mechanism HMAC or CMAC provides integrity, and moreover it is encrypted by using K key. Okay, so the person with the K key can do this encryption, so that it also provides non-repudiation. Somehow it also provides availability. Okay, so if the document is encrypted by using TK, if it is computed by using MAC algorithm, so the receiver can verify that the person is the correct person, not an intruder or hacker. Okay, so data integrity algorithm, HMAC, CMAC, we're going to discuss all those things in the third unit. HMAC, CMAC provides data integrity, non-repudiation, and availability. Okay, and we have another specific mechanism that is known as authentication exchange. Okay, authentication exchange. One common thing is Kerberos. Okay, so authentication exchange. Okay, exchange some secrecy. Okay, one common algorithm for authentication exchange is by using Shamir secret. Okay, so that authentication exchange only provides peer entity authentication, nothing else. Okay, and it also provides availability. And we have a special algorithm for avoiding traffic flow confidentiality. Okay, that is known as traffic padding. Okay, I said already some zeros to be padded, some extra data to be padded with the traffic. Okay, so that provides only traffic flow confidentiality, nothing else. Okay, it provides only traffic flow confidentiality. All these are specialized algorithms, traffic flow confidentiality. Okay, and we have two more mechanisms based on the policy factors. Okay, for a little student, you know already, all the routers are publicly located. Okay, each and every country has its own policy for routing. Okay, so routing control is one way of security mechanism. Okay, you can decide which router to use to transmit the data from one end to another end. Okay, routing policy or routing control. Okay, routing control. What are the routers to be used? Okay. Okay. So routing control is one type of algorithm suitable for securing the traffic. Okay. It provides confidentiality as well as traffic flow confidentiality. This routing control provides confidentiality because it passes through the secured router, as well as it also provides traffic flow. Intruder may be in secured router. Okay, the data transmitted across a secure router. So it provides traffic flow confidentiality. So the final component is not common in India, but it is common in federal security. Notary access, notarization. Okay, that is some sort of third-party verification. For example, if you take income tax, the income tax to be verified by notary public. Okay, notarization. Okay, so that is a final mechanism. That is like auditing mechanism, some sort of security auditing. Okay, so some in third party will be there to verify that the system is secure, hardware is secure, or software is secure. That is known as notarization. Okay, so that is why third party non-public organization will be responsible for that notarization. So once you get the certificate, then you can ensure that your system or hardware or software or service is secure. Okay, so there are different mechanisms. Most common mechanisms are encipherment, digital signature, access control mechanism, data integrity mechanisms. All these four are very common mechanisms for providing various services. Okay, and we have authentication exchange, traffic padding, routing control, and notarization. So these are the security mechanisms to provide some specific services. Okay, clear? Any doubts? So these are standardized by ISO 8.x.800 document. X.800 document. All these definitions are specified in X.800 document. Clear? Okay. So in the theory portion, yesterday we started with LHC triangle, confidentiality, availability, integrity, and today we continue with the security attack, security mechanisms, and security services. Okay. In the definition part, we have one more pending component, which is attack surfaces and attack mode. Okay. So for example, if you want to launch a specific attack, okay. For example, if you want to launch the attack of breaking academic web, Sastra academic web, okay, attack is a breaking academic web, okay. So you cannot do it just by a simple approach, okay. You have to think out something, and each and every phase you have to apply some mechanisms and some sort of violations, and then finally you can reach the goal of breaking the academic web. Okay, so attack surface means the platform in which you are going to launch the attack. Okay, attack tree means how you are going to launch the attack. Okay, so initial, what will be the initial phase? Then what is the next phase? And then the other subsequent model and so on. Okay, so that is known as attack surfaces and attack tree. That is suitable for hacker intruder's perspective. Okay, if you want to be the ethical hacker, definitely you need to know the better understand, you should know the better understanding of attack surfaces and attack trees are required. Okay, so tomorrow or next class we'll talk about attack tree or attack surfaces. Okay, but meanwhile you get ready with a quiz one preparation. At any point of time you will get a notification for that. And next week probably by Monday you're supposed to write the exam. Okay, the portion for quiz one, I think till symmetry set. Okay, whatever the content we discussed so far, that's more than enough to write that quiz. Okay, any more doubt? Shall I stop here?